Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Janelle and we're actually going to jump right on into this video, okay? So by the title, we're talking about some tips and things that I follow as well to get prepared for hurricane season, which actually started June 1st. And with all that's going on with these huge heat waves, I'm here in Texas. We actually lost power for almost 2 days at my job. Where I actually live, though, we're on a different grid, and so we lost power for a few minutes, but then that came back on. But we are expecting that it's going to get worse, and we need to be prepared for that. And this video was going to come out, but now it's even better that it's coming out now. So I have my little cheat sheet with me, y'all, because I can talk for forever and I don't want to get too far off the rails. I kind of want to stay where I need to stay. So we're going to talk about 10 things that you can do to get yourself prepared, even if it's not for a hurricane, but any kind of like heat wave or just any kind of catastrophe at all. Some things may apply, some things may not apply. So let's get into number one. So number one is having enough water. So what is it called? National Hurricane Society, whatever thingy, I probably should have their name down correctly, says that for each person, you should have about 1 gallon of water for at least 3 days, because it will normally take about 3 days for search and rescue or anybody to be able to get to you if there was a major hurricane. So that means that for each person in your house, you'll have 1 gallon of water for 3 days. So in my household, there is 3 people, so we should have 9 gallons of water to last us for at least 3 days until we were able to maybe get out ourselves, or if someone needed to come and help us. If you can have a little bit more water than that, then that's also good as well. I do believe, I'm not 100% sure, but we do have a water filtration system in both our kitchen sink and in our fridge. So of course our fridge would be out, but I do believe that we would still be able to get some kind of clean water from our kitchen sink, but maybe not, just depending on how bad the damage is and if the water plants are still working to their optimum levels. So with that being said, we could get away with 9 gallons of water and then still have extra water outside of that from our water filtration system. So that is one of the most important things. We all need water, regardless of whether there's a storm or not. Water is absolutely essential to life in general. So you want to make sure that you have enough water. I actually just bought some water, I bought some water like last week, a case of water, and I like to stack up and have about 6 cases, and I keep them. And if nothing happens towards the end of the year, maybe like October, November-ish, I just start letting my husband take those packs of water to work so that they don't go to waste. I did that last year, I want to say, is I always kept water in our packaged water inside of our household, and then towards the end of last year I just let my husband take those to work. So that is number one. Number two is rechargeable batteries. So I do just want to say that not everyone, or it may not fit in everyone's budget to be able to have a generator. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. This is just kind of more common and more affordable for everyone, to make sure that you have rechargeable batteries. You have flashlights, rechargeable packs for your phones, things of that sort. You want to make sure you have that and have extra. So have extra batteries in case, it goes longer, you're using it a lot more, those batteries go dead. You always want to just make sure that you're prepared. So having rechargeable batteries for different items that you have in your home is also very good. If you happen to have a baby, maybe having something that maybe you can go into your car and charge, like if they have to have a warm bottle, they do make rechargeable bottle warmers that you can use in your vehicle and things of that sort to get your bottle warmed. I did last year when baby girl was younger, of course. I used to worry that if a storm was gonna come that I was not prepared at all, because I'm like, she needs to have her milk, and the milk that she had to use expired in 48 hours, so you had to put it in the fridge. and it was a nightmare. So I'm glad that nothing happened during that time. But it was one of the things that I was thinking of, like, if we can just get through a few more months, like, we will be okay. But if you happen to have a small child at home, that is something to think about and keep on hand. Number 3 is going to be a first aid kit, which I am working on putting together and hoping that I can show you guys a video of that. But having a first aid kit of like Neosporin, just in case, you get hurt, Band-Aids, like Tylenol, Motrin, allergy medicine, things that you would need that like we have in our household now. If something was to happen, we do have a 17-month-old child, so we also need to make sure that we have Tylenol and medicine for her as well too. I would say also like maybe like a sewing kit or something that you can use in case of an emergency to maybe stitch something together. Make sure that you have like alcohol or alcohol pads, cotton, things of that sort in your first aid kit. It is also going to be based on what you and your household may need. Maybe you guys don't use pills and things of that sort, so you would not have that in your first aid kit. So that is also going to be personal to you and your family. This is just things in general. So I did want to talk about that. Number 4 is going to be non-perishable food items. So I do try when I go to the grocery store now, you'll see me pick up extra like beans, and I'll get like pasta, although that's not something we eat on a regular basis, but those are things that won't go bad very quickly and can come in handy in time of an emergency. Now, we do have gas in our home. The last time that we lost electricity, we were still able to use gas. And so we were still able to make meals or cook and things of that sort. So that was kind of a good thing for us. That doesn't mean in the future we'll always have that, but that's just kind of what I'm leaning on right now. So if I can have those things that can last us, we won't be cooking every day. But, if you made some cornmeal porridge in the morning, that can kind of last you the whole day for your whole family, and just things of that sort. Pasta, rice is very good. You can have that with like tuna or corned beef and stuff like that. Those things last very long. And once again, with like the water situation, like if you have them and you don't need them and you want to be able to give them away, food bank or food pantry is also a good way to take those canned goods and give them for, like Thanksgiving, the holiday times and things of that sort. So it's not an investment that like if you invest in them and you don't use them, then it was a waste. And depending on how long they last, you may be able to keep them for the following year. So you want to have non-perishable food items. Another thing is maybe stock up on some extra formula, once again, if you have a child, because what will happen is once that storm is over, a lot of places may not be open, or you may not have easy access to things. And so you just want to make sure that you are comfortable in your home. You don't need to hoard everything, but you just want to make sure those first 3 to 4 days you are okay and you're not in need of having to get out onto the road to go and purchase things because you don't have them. Next is going to be a weird one, but I'm going to say games. I remember when I was living in Florida with my family, me and my uncle and my best friend, well, like me and my uncle in our house, but then my best friend lived next door, and we would have so many hurricanes, and we would just get together and we would have games that we could play during the day. I mean, we would play, come up with all sorts of stuff to keep us active. I loved reading, so I would read a lot and things of that sort. That kind of helps the day go by quickly. If you have younger children, they're not bored and driving you crazy. It kind of keeps them contained, especially if there might have been damage to the home and things of that sort. You can kind of keep them in one area, keep them all together, and avoid them from getting hurt. So I'm not saying to go and buy games and stuff like that, but grab you a card of Uno. You can get that at the Dollar Tree. I think they have board games, just depending on your Dollar Tree or Dollar General maybe. They have, inexpensive things to help keep your kids occupied during this time, or even keep yourself occupied, because, you may not be able to be using your phone 24/7 because you may not know when you'll get electricity back, and you want to be able to make sure that you have it to use in case of emergency. Next is going to be something that I kind of already mentioned, but I want to reiterate, is flashlights. Okay. So I know we have candles in our homes, and it worked when it was just me and my husband, but now that we have a younger one, it can truly be a hazard to have candles. Because if that happens to get hit or kicked for whatever reason, you didn't put it in the right spot, that can set a home ablaze, an apartment ablaze, and things can get significantly worse. So you want to make sure that you are stocked up on flashlights. This also pertains to if we're in a heat wave and stuff like that as well too. You have those flashlights because things get really dark and you don't realize it. When I was at work, I work with 55 and over folks, and we have hallways, and those hallways were like pitch black. And so it was nice to have flashlights and the emergency light. Like, you just don't realize like how dark things become even at nighttime when there is no electricity, there's no lights going on. So you always want to make sure that you have lights. If you live in a home and you can have like those little $5 solar lights outside that's been collecting energy, it also can keep your yard and your front yard well lit as well too, so you can kind of still feel like you know what's going on. You know, if your security system of course is not working and stuff, your home can still be well lit. So I think that that's also important too. Sometimes we get away from that. Like I said, we were using candles in the past, but going forward, we will be making sure that we have a lot more flashlights. And if you're unable to get a flashlight, I mean, if you have a phone, you do have, most phones will have flashlights on their phone as well too. Next is going to be a super old school one, but it doesn't have to be, is getting a radio. I learned this during the freeze storm here in Texas in 2021, that with the freeze storm, we lost like signal for our phones. So even though we were kind of prepared for everything else, it was very, very hard to figure out what was going on, what the roads were looking like, what was the damage like, what everybody was expecting, because we had no cell tower. So it was very hard to find anything. We would have to go try to talk to the neighbors, or the neighbors would come knock on our doors. Like, it really felt like we were like back in the 90s, okay? And back then they had pagers. So I say, if you can, you have a little radio. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, back in college, I had got like a gift for like my bathroom, like a whole bathroom set. And that bathroom set came with like this little, what is it called? It came with a clock, and on that clock has a little radio, and I always make sure that I have batteries, because that little inexpensive gift that I got has saved my life. So I have that, and I'm able to go, and I always just keep it on like the channel that it needs to be, because I don't play it any other time. And so that would help with being able to listen to the news and finding out what's going on if you don't have cell service, because that is one thing that we don't think about. We're always like, oh, if you lose electricity, that we still have cell service, and that may not always be the case. And so that is something that you want to make sure that you have, or if you have any other kind of device that can provide that without necessarily needing a cell tower. But if you have your phone and the cell towers are still good, but the service may be a little bit slower, something like that, then you still have your phone. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I follow up like on Facebook. I follow all of those like major news stations and stuff like that, so I can see what's going on. And things of that sort. Next is going to be one of the things that I kind of talk about all the time, every time I do my cashless stuffings, is keep cash on hand. So I know a lot of people already do like cash budgeting and they already have cash, but I don't. I do a cashless system, but I have a envelope for weather, and I keep that in my stored away kind of, and I keep about $150 just in case I need to go and use cash to get something. Because like I said, you may not have electricity, but you may need to go and purchase things. You may need to still be functioning, and a lot of places may not be able to use your card. You may not be able to Zelle or Venmo or Cash App people money. So the next best, especially if you're going to a store, so the next best thing would be to have some cash on hand. So you're going to want to make sure that you have, you know, some money Right now I have $150. I do maybe plan on saving about $50 more, just give ourselves an even $200. But if I'm already preparing for a lot of these things, I think $200 should be good. If you're thinking about the more extreme things, then maybe you might need a little bit more. But I think $150, $200, $300, that should be enough. You shouldn't really have to spend more than that. But that's just my opinion. Next is going to be gas. It's also one of the reasons, y'all, that I get gas at a half a tank. Matter of fact, I think I got gas maybe the day before the lights went out, and I felt good because I would have needed to get gas that day, and the gas station that's right by our job did not have any electricity, and so I would have literally had been stuck because I did not have any gas left in my car. So I was glad that I had already filled up my tank. So it is also very important to make sure that you are watching the news and keeping up with the latest updates and things of that sort, because when you are, you're able to take care of things quicker and before everybody starts going crazy and now you're waiting in the line to get gas for the next 3, 4, 5 hours. So gas is very important. Make sure you always have gas in your car. And then lastly, this is going to be a wide range of like a miscellaneous things, all the things that maybe I have missed, but I'm going to include in here. So I say personal care. Make yourself a to-go bag, depending on what the situation is. Like baby girl, her book bag, she doesn't need to go to school with the book bag because everything's already at school. But for me, I always just keep like wipes, a pair of an outfit. I mean, everybody's different, but I really don't have much accidents with her on the road in terms of like having to change her clothes. She had a blowout or things of that sort, but I always keep it well stocked. There's always a snack in there. I will change it out every month just so that like it's not going in there stale, but I keep a snack in there, I keep wipes, I keep a towel, like all that kind of stuff in there. So in case of an emergency, I could just pick up that bag and go because I know that pretty much like everything is in there. And so keep a to-go bag that maybe clothes and some wipes and shoes, like you're going on a vacation that you already have. I kind of have some of those stuff in my closet of like just small like travel size things that you can pick up in case you do have to evacuate from your home. You already have those that you can just throw together and put away. Another thing is making sure that your important documents are sealed and in a safe place, or if you need to put them in a Ziploc bag because you need to take them with you, like your social, birth certificates, things of that sort. If it's not safe in a safe, like a safe, then you want to make sure that it's safe from like water or fire to a certain extent. I've learned that, Ziploc bag is a nice little thing. I know there's other little bags that are like fireproof and things of that sort that you could use as well. But those are some of the things we want to think about, not even just during a time of an emergency, but at all times. Also, if for some reason you're like us and maybe it doesn't work out that way either, but that you need get a little grill, maybe you can go find a $50, $70 grill that you can keep out so that if you lose electricity, all that meat you might have stored in the freezer or something like that, you can go ahead and cook it and you guys can still have food, nice protein and things of that sort. Or even if you're making like potatoes or something else, I don't know, I don't grill, so let me not be ignorant on that. But things of that sort, you can have a grill. If it happened to be another winter storm, a grill could also help keep you all warm as well too. So that is a very good investment. Along with that, if you live in a home, getting your home ready. If it is a hurricane, you want to make sure that if you have anything outside that you can take down, strap down, put away, that you put those stuff away, because during a hurricane, you do not want to have things flying around. If you have a garage, put your vehicles in the garage. I am one of those people that we don't put nothing else in our garage besides our vehicles. And so, I mean, like we have stuff in the garage, but like our cars, our vehicles can still fit in there. I know people turn it into other leisure spaces and stuff, but these are one of the reasons why. Also, I just prefer my car to be I don't know why I'm yawning. Sorry, y'all. I just prefer for my vehicle to be inside of a garage. But yes, if you own a home, you want to make sure that you're proofing your home as well too for any kind of storms or anything like that. Right now, we are in week 2 of a excessive heat warning. It's like 105 where I am, but it feels like 115. And so there is stuff that we do in our house, like we don't turn on any lights. We are still leaving our AC at about 78, 80 during the day when we are not home. All of our blinds stay closed. Just small little things to kind of help our home, because I saw our light bill and the light bill wasn't light billing, okay? And I'm like, we haven't even hit like July and August, which are the hottest months here in Texas. So I'm just like, goodness gracious. But y'all, the last thing I want to talk about is, if you can save or afford to, get a generator. If you can get a generator, there's different types of generators from what I've been learning from my husband, because there's a generator that will just power certain things to kind of keep you going. And then you have those generators that are like bigger generators that can be like attached to your home in a sense. So the minute your lights go out, the generator turns on and it functions normally. I think some won't do your AC, but will turn on everything else. And then some will do your AC. That's the kind of generator I want. But those things are expensive. Okay, so you may have to save for it. So everybody may not be in the same boat to where you can just like go and buy a generator. But if you can save for a small one, or you can find one for cheap. I found out in my business that I work in, we get a lot of things, especially when people are selling homes. They have really nice things that they're giving away: rugs, couches, clothes, shoes, and things of that sort. I've run into a lot of people who've had generators that they've sold or given away. So you don't have to go to like a store and actually buy one. It may just be someone in your neighborhood or someone moving to your neighborhood who's trying to get rid of things, and you may be able to find a good one for a deal. But if you could get a generator, that might be your best option. And if you get a generator, that means that when you're going to get gas for your car, you make sure you get maybe a bottle, not a bottle, but a tub of a couple of gallons of gas to keep you good for maybe, 2 to 3 days or so, because you'll need to replace the gas just depending on what kind of generator you're having. So y'all, those are kind of like my 10 tips that I have for getting prepared for this summer, whether you live in a state that has hurricanes or water storms is what I'm going to call them, or if you're just dealing with this heat wave right now, because I know a lot of places are dealing with it once again. These are just my tips. If I've missed some things, or you want to add some things on that you think that I may be able to use in our personal lives, leave them in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.